Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive macro-level shift in modern sports. Football is absolutely no longer just a simple 90-minute game played on a pitch. It has evolved into a massive, multi-billion-dollar global industry. Today, it literally serves as a powerful tool for national economies, foreign investment flows, and international branding. We're going to explore exactly how two monumental player transfers highlight two entirely different national strategies for harnessing this massive global economic engine. Here is our roadmap for today's Explainer. First, we'll dive into the global football economy. Second, we'll look at two stars and two models. Third, measuring economic multipliers. Fourth, soft power and society. And finally, risks and future outlook. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The global football economy. When a superstar player changes clubs today, the shockwaves ripple far, far beyond the pitch. To truly understand government involvement here, we have to talk about soft power. Basically, this is the ability of nations to utilize sports to shape global preferences and appeal. Signing a globally recognized Tier 1 name is a highly calculated investment. It's designed to shift international perception, attract foreign visitors, and normalize a country's presence in everyday global conversations.
Section 2. Two stars, two models.
These two case studies offer a brilliant, almost philosophical contrast. On one side, you have Mohamed Salah's historic August 2026 move to Trabzonspor. This represents a very market-driven approach. It relies on a localized economic multiplier and taps directly into an existing European-rooted football identity. Essentially, Turkey is making an organic bet on a deeply passionate regional culture. Now, on the other side, you have Cristiano Ronaldo's landmark late 2022 move to Al-Nassr. That is a state-supported top-down campaign. It is specifically engineered for systemic, rapid commercial growth, and it aligns perfectly with Saudi Arabia's broader Vision 2030 initiative. Now, the sheer difference in financial scale between these two models is absolutely wild. Mohamed Salah's package in Turkey is incredibly lucrative, estimated at $19.6 million a season, making it one of the richest in Turkish Super League history. But contrast that with Cristiano Ronaldo's estimated $200 million annual package in Saudi Arabia. That staggering multi-hundred million dollar figure really highlights the massive capital injection required when a nation attempts a systemic, top-down entry into the global sports market. Section 3. Measuring economic multipliers. So what is the real driver behind these massive investments? It's the economic multiplier. That's the total economic activity generated by a star that actually exceeds the club's direct expenditure. When a massive player like Salah arrives in a Black Sea city like Trabzon, the wealth literally multiplies locally. Hotel owners see increased bookings, taxi drivers get more fares, and local retail experiences an absolute surge in consumer spending. Let's run through a rapid-fire sequence of data to see how this plays out in reality. First up, $200 million. That massive initial capital injection was essentially the price of admission to kickstart Saudi Arabia's multiplier on a national scale. And the direct result of that? Well, there was a reported 650% revenue increase in certain commercial categories for the Saudi Pro League. That jump totally validates their initial heavy investment. And that expansion definitely didn't stop at the local level. Over 140 international territories secured broadcasting rights for the league. This dramatically expanded its global media exposure practically overnight, transforming the league into a serious commercial competitor visible all over the world. Pivoting back to the Turkish model for a second, 20%. This represents Mohamed Salah's unique share of merchandise revenue. This is a brilliant market-driven mechanism because it directly incentivizes global sales for a regional club. Because Salah has such massive global appeal, especially across the Arab world and Africa, this 20% slice drives an incredible volume of international online retail for Trabzonspor. What happens is a whole ecosystem of ancillary industries rushes in to capture this new demand. We're talking sports apparel, airlines, and hospitality groups reaping the benefits of sports tourism. But it also extends deep into tech, accelerating the return on AI analytics and smart stadium investments, simply because the monetizable audience has exponentially increased. Section 4. Soft power and society. Beyond the raw economics, these transfers trigger profound cultural shifts on the ground. Over in Turkey, Salah's arrival brings immense civic pride to a very passionate Black Sea fan base. It's this powerful affirmation of regional identity and inspires local youth by showing them that a club outside the traditional Istanbul power centers can actually attract a global icon. Meanwhile, in Saudi Arabia,
Ronaldo's presence is tied to much broader lifestyle shifts. It normalizes a deliberate strategy of international openness, boosts youth sports participation, and acts as a massive pillar of their sports diplomacy. Just to ground this abstract concept of global media exposure for a second, Al-Nassr's Instagram exploded from under 1 million to approximately 30 million followers within a few years of signing Ronaldo. That astronomical leap proves the immediate, undeniable soft power value of a superstar. Suddenly, you have millions of people worldwide engaging with content out of Riyadh on a daily basis.
Section 5. Risks and Future Outlook. Of course, explosive growth always brings unique challenges, right? Both models actually face a very similar long-term sequence. Step 1 is relatively easy when you have the capital. Attract temporary global attention. Step 2 gets harder. You have to build durable physical and digital infrastructure. And step 3 is without a doubt the hardest, developing sustainable domestic talent and diversified revenue streams. Turkey has to carefully manage high-wage commitments and domestic competitive balance, while Saudi Arabia really must avoid an overdependence on successive marquee signings once that initial novelty eventually fades. So, to concisely wrap up this comparison, the Salah to Trabzonspor model relies on a localized multiplier. It drives tourism straight to the Black Sea region and captures incremental Arab market interest for TV rights. Meanwhile, the Ronaldo to Al-Nassr model is entirely about systemic, top-down commercial growth. It drives massive sports tourism to Riyadh and achieves that dramatic 140-plus territory television expansion. It's two distinctly different methods, both effectively utilizing the exact same global engine.
And this brings us to a rather fundamental realization about the modern game. Football is no longer just mere entertainment. It is genuinely an instrument of national development. The sport has fundamentally changed. Governments and clubs are heavily leveraging these athletes to build infrastructure, diversify their entire economies, and project soft power directly onto the world stage.
And that leaves us with one final, incredibly provocative question. Can temporary global attention convert into lasting prosperity? The ultimate measure of success for both Turkey and Saudi Arabia will be whether this massive influx of attention can outlast any individual player's career. To explore this analysis further and for more, visit our website, Fairest Solution.